Welcome everybody, Film Fan 108 here to my Blu-ray pickups video for the month of July. And as you can see right here guys, I have quite the stack to show you guys. So let's get right into it, shall we, with the first title that I picked up for the month of July. And that is none other than Blockers right here, guys. Now, I saw this movie in the theaters and I was a little worried going in because even though the trailers were good, comedies to me nowadays, they're sort of hit and miss. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to get with it, if it was going to really be all that funny or all the good stuff was in the trailer. Thankfully, I was pleasantly surprised, and actually, this movie is incredibly hilarious. It's about these three friends who are in high school. They're attending senior prom, and they're about to finish their senior year. And they decide that they're going to make a pact to lose their virginity on prom night. And their parents decide, well, this is not going to happen. They find out what's going on, and they're like, we are going to stop it. And they chase after them all over the place, and sort of hilarity ensues from then. And I just thought it was a really great comedy, guys. I thought it was a really great story, likable characters, very funny, and I thought John Cena killed it in the role he was in. And this movie kind of reminds me of it reminds me of movies back in the day, like whether we're talking about like Hot Moves or Porky's or American Pie, movies like that. It definitely did remind me of those, and it just, for a new generation, it has that new spin on it with the females, and I think over time this could definitely be a comedy classic, guys. It's definitely very funny. I was really pleasantly surprised. And this Blu-ray here, it has some decent special features. You get deleted scenes, gag reel, some featurettes talking about prom, casting of the characters, the roles of the parents, Linorama, feature commentary with the director, and a few other things. Not bad special features, but this movie is definitely worth it, guys. If you haven't checked out Blockers yet, and are a fan of those sort of old school raunchy comedies, you might enjoy this one. This is really good. I definitely give it a recommend. Blockers. Then the next title that I picked up, guys, is none other than A Quiet Place. I picked up the steelbook here, the Best Buy limited steelbook here. As you can see, the cover here, very nice. I like that. And the back here, if they hear you, they hunt you. And on the inside, guys, there's not really any major artwork on the inside, just sort of the claws of sort of the creature scratching. And this movie I got a chance to check out in the theaters, guys, and it is so wonderful, man. Really atmospheric, creepy at times, very effective. It's really about this family who's living in this world where these creatures or aliens or whatever you want to call them, they've come down to Earth and they've basically hunted and killed the mass population, and only a select amount of people are alive, including this family. And basically these creatures hunt by sound, and they have to be quiet, and they have to try to learn how to survive and how to deal with the everyday challenges that they have to go through and care for one another. And I just really enjoyed the hell out of this movie, guys. It was so amazing. John Krasinski, who not only stars in it but directs it, he did an awesome job. Emily Blunt is fantastic in it. The kids who act in it, they're not annoying. They're really effective. Great, relatable characters. And the creatures itself, great CGI. They sort of have an interesting look to them. To me, they kind of are a mix between sort of the Licker from Resident Evil and like the demo dogs from Stranger Things. I'm sure there's a few other designs in there, but it definitely has a very unique design, and I like that to it. This is such a great atmospheric, great horror movie, and I know it did really well in the box office, and I'm so glad it did. If you guys have not checked out A Quiet Place, definitely do it. I think you guys will not be disappointed. And the special features on here, it does have a few interesting ones. It has some smaller featurettes, but they all delve into a lot of in-depth stuff, talking about the actors, talking about the script, the shooting of the film, the sound design, the music. Even though there are not a lot of featurettes here, they definitely do delve into a lot of really cool and interesting stuff in the making of it, which is really interesting. I wish we would have gotten an audio commentary, but that's sort of here and there. I do really enjoy the film. This is a great steelbook. I'm so glad to own it, have it in the collection. If you guys have not checked out A Quiet Place, definitely do so. You will definitely enjoy it. Quiet Place. And the next title that I picked up is a Ronin Flicks exclusive Blu-ray limited edition, and that is Hardware right here. And with the limited edition slipcover right there, very nice the front, and on the back side, the nomads sort of walking in the desert. And on the inside, you get the original artwork as well. Very cool here also. And this movie, man, I saw this movie back in the day, and this movie I love, guys. It has this sort of futuristic, post-apocalyptic feel to it. It's about this woman and her boyfriend, and her boyfriend finds these sort of robotic parts, this robotic head and whatnot, and he gets it for her, thinking she could do some sort of artwork with it, and some cool design stuff. And this robot comes back to life, and we find out that it's this former military robot, and starts to stalk and hunt her and kill other people. And it's a really brutal, really effective sci-fi horror film, and I thought it was really well done. The acting is great in it. A young Dylan McDermott does a really great job in here as well. I love the robot, the design of the robot, completely badass. The gore is great in it. The blood is great in it. The killing is really cool in it. I really did enjoy this one. This is definitely one of those like cult classic films that definitely is one of those like, once you see it, you really think about it, and it's unlike anything you've seen. And even that this movie was low budget, it definitely still was very effective. It still got the point across, and it really is unique. It really is, guys. And Richard Stanley, who directed this, did an awesome job with this. It's definitely his best film, I do think it is. And Ronin Flicks, man, hit this out of the park here. The special features that you get on here is plentiful, guys. You get a lot of everything older from the older release definitely gets ported over here. You get the audio commentary from the director Richard Stanley, deleted and extended scenes. You get a new interview with the director Richard Stanley, and it's a really interesting interview because now he's sort of living in a cabin. He's kind of a nomad now, and he's kept a lot of all of the sort of cool stuff from the film. He's kept sort of the robot's head, and he's kept like sketches of like the artwork and everything, and it's really fascinating. He talks about the film. He talks about the influence of the film, the politics, filmmaking nowadays, how sort of hardware sort of fits into all that, and it's a really great discussion. And I was really happy they got a new interview with him because it really is fascinating. I love any interview with him. He's just really fascinating to sort of hear his thoughts. And you also get all the older stuff as well. You get an interview with Iggy Pop. You get No Flesh Shall Be Spared, the making of Hardware. You also get early Super A version of Hardware. Richard Stanley talking about Hardware 2. Short films of Richard Stanley, theatrical trailer, promo videos, and Ronin Flicks also did a new 4K scan of this title, and the picture looks gorgeous, guys. It's absolutely awesome. This is a great, great release, guys, and I had not owned the DVD or the Blu-ray before this, so this was my first time owning this title, so it was definitely worth the pickup for me. If you guys own the older edition, not sure if you guys are going to upgrade or not, but Ronin Flicks did an amazing job with this release, and I hope they do more exclusive sort of Blu-rays and limited edition stuff in the future. I would definitely check it out. Hard work, guys. And the next title that I picked up is a Scorpion releasing title, and it finally came out with their special edition. I was really excited to pick it up, and that is The Church right here with the limited edition slipcover right there. You can see it there, and on the inside, the original artwork right here. Very cool. And this is really a very interesting movie. It's one of those Italian films, guys. And I guess I should say Italian films in the fact that it's all over the place. I mean, just weird sort of plots go in and out, and weird sort of things happen, and then it just cuts to the next thing. It's an Italian film. If you guys have seen any Italian horror films, you kind of know what I'm talking about. But basically, the premise of this movie is basically this evil gets sort of banished by these sort of religious crusaders back in the day, and they bury it. And in modern day now, it's now buried underneath a church, and the evil is trying to get out and basically cause harm to the people in the church and basically the world. That's as much of a basic plot as I can give you guys. It's so weird and out there, but really well done and really effective. The acting is really awesome in this movie. I thought the creatures, the weird sort of creatures and demons in it are really fantastic. I thought the blood and gore was really effective as well. I thought the killing was really cool. It's definitely subtitles, so if you're not into subtitles, this may not be your thing. But I thought it was a really cool and interesting movie. I was so happy to actually get it and check it out. And for me, I gotta tell you guys, it's one of those Italian films that I'm not huge into Italian horror, but this is one of those ones where I definitely loved. I loved every minute of it. I think with the religious aspect, with the horror to it, I think that really mixed together well. I really loved it a lot. Definitely check out the trailer online and see if you guys might dig it. This movie is produced by Dario Argento. It's directed by Michele Soavi, who did a lot of really great horror films. He is definitely an awesome director. Again, you get a lot of really great, interesting cast here. You even get a young Asia Argento in this as well. Very effective, very young, early role for her. And it's just a really wonderful little slice of Italian horror that I really enjoy, guys. And Scorpion Releasing did a really awesome job on this title. You get a lot of special features on this sucker. You get audio commentary with one of the stars. You get an interview with the director, interview with Dario Argento, an interview with Asia Argento. You get trailers. You get interviews with a bunch more of the actors, the set designer, the screenwriter, the makeup artist, plus much more. And they also did a new 2017 2K scan with over 45 hours of color correction, and it looks beautiful. They did a fantastic job here. This is the best that this title will probably ever look, and it is probably the best special edition that's going to come out on this title. It is definitely worth it to check out, guys. If you like Italian horror and you're into some really cool, weird, interesting movie suggestions, definitely check out The Church. Then the next title I picked up is none other than Super Troopers 2, guys. I saw this in the theater and I really liked the trailers, but I was worried because I love that first Super Troopers film. It came out just as I was leaving high school, and I was the perfect age to watch that movie. I thought movie was hilarious. It's definitely a classic in my eyes, and I really love the Broken Lizard crew. I like things like Beer Fest and Club Dread. I think they're a really cool comedy group. And when I heard about this movie, I was on the fence because I was like, how are they gonna be now? how are they going to be years after the fact? Is it going to be effective? Is it still going to work? Are they going to be just as good as they used to be? And thankfully, guys, they really were. It was like they had just picked up where they left off. The comedy is great in here. The chemistry between all the guys is still fantastic. They really do sort of still mesh together really well. I love the story. The characters are likable and funny as always. And it's basically a story about this Canadian town. They sort of rejiggered the border, and now it's part of the United States. And so the Super Troopers have to go and sort of take care of the highways and take care of the patrolling of this town, and sort of all the craziness and hilarity ensues with the Canadians. And it's just a really wonderful sequel, guys. Is it as good as that first Super Troopers film? I don't think so. I think that first film is a classic. I don't think you can really beat it, but this is such a great title, guys, and it really is funny. And man, I thought they just hit it out of the park. I was worried, but I shouldn't have been. The Broken Lizard crew is awesome. And I recently went to Salt City Comic Con, guys, and talked to a couple of guys from the Broken Lizard crew, and they are actually working on Super Troopers 3. I guess the movie made a lot of money for Fox and for their investors, and everyone's happy, and they want them to do a number 3. So they are currently writing the script for number 3. I cannot wait to see what they come up with. If it's as good as 1 and 2 here, I definitely would be down to check it out. It is a very worthy title, and I think the special features here, we don't get much, but what we get is interesting. You get a making of Super Troopers 2, and this is more in-depth than I thought it was going to be. It's about 40-ish minutes long, and it really delves into everything. The casting, talking about coming back after so many years, the crowdfunding of the film, just the pressures of it, the writing of the script, everything. They really delve into a lot in 40-minute time frame. It works really well, guys. You also get extended and deleted scenes, theatrical trailers, and a little bit more. Guys, this is a great title, very funny, and I was pleasantly surprised by this. I thought that the Broken Lizard crew did an awesome job with this title. If you like comedy, if you like that first Super Troopers film, definitely give this a look. Super Troopers 2, guys. And then the next title that I got is a really cool sort of sci-fi geek movie that I just loved when I saw in the theaters, and that is Ready Player One, the 4K Blu-ray and digital. And this is such an awesome movie. Like I said, I saw it in the theaters, and I really love this title a lot. Basically what it is that Wade Watts is living in this world where it's the world has kind of not been great. It's sort of very downtrodden, and the world is more like slumming it now, but everybody wants to escape to the Oasis, and that's this VR sort of imaginary sort of world where you can be anything and anyone you want to be. And it's such a creative and wonderful and just sprawling world. I just really loved it so much. And basically, the creator of this world, he's already passed away, and he has left 3 keys in this whole virtual realm. And whoever finds the 3 keys will, of course, control the Oasis and control the stock in the company. And there's this evil corporation that wants the keys, and Wade has to try to find the keys before them. And it's this whole adventure thing, and I really enjoyed the adventure aspect of this movie, guys. I really enjoyed just really everything about this movie. I thought the CGI was incredible in this. I thought the characters were incredibly likable. I love sort of the VR world in here. It's so imaginative and wonderful, and just so much stuff to see. All these Easter eggs. You could watch this movie like 10 times and everything and still not find everything. I'm still finding new stuff. It's so incredible, and I just really thought Steven Spielberg hit it out of the park. And I was worried because Steven Spielberg, he's getting up there in age, and he can't really do the blockbusters like he used to, but this movie really proves that if he has the right material, he can really shine. This movie just was just a love letter to the 80s, love letter to nostalgia, and it's such a great movie, and I really enjoyed the hell out of it. Yeah, I really dug it a lot, guys. I really did. And the special features here, you get over 90 minutes of bonus content, and a lot of it is basically you get these small featurettes that you can do a play all feature on, and it's almost like this one big documentary talking about the script, the CGI, the actors, the VFX realm that they did for the Oasis, the actual book that this is based off of, the the music, the sound design, everything. It delves into all that, and it's just this small featurette built into this one big documentary. And it's so fascinating. I really did enjoy the making of documentary on this. I loved finding out all the little nooks and crannies that they dealt with. This is a really awesome title, guys. The picture quality is amazing here. The special features are pretty decent for what we get. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I am really glad to pick up this title. If you have not caught Ready Player One yet, I recommend it to you wholeheartedly. Ready Player One, guys. And the next few titles that I picked up are titles that I got during the Criterion sale at Barnes& and Noble. I definitely wanted to take advantage of the sale, and I got a few really good titles, I think. And the first title that I got from the Criterion sale is none other than The Silence of the Lambs right here, guys. And this is actually a really cool little thing here they got. As you can see here, they got a booklet in here that basically shows off all of the really interesting facts and talking about the movie, all unseen photos and everything from the movie. Very interesting booklet right here. You also end up on the inside here. You get some of the artwork, and if you turn it around, it kind of looks like the messed up butterfly there, guys, with the blood and everything. Yeah, very cool there. And man, I think to this day, guys, Silence of the Lambs is probably one of the best movies of the 90s. It is really, really one of the most effective and scary movies of the 90s. And one of Anthony Hopkins' best roles. He kills it as Hannibal Lecter. And basically, this movie is about this killer named Buffalo Bill, and the idea that they're trying to catch this guy, and they don't have any leads, they don't really know where to turn, and this young FBI agent, Clarice Starling, played by Jodie Foster, she is put on the case, and in order to try to find this killer, she has to talk to a killer and somebody who that this person that they're on the hunt for admires, and that is Hannibal Lecter. And she has to not only try to find this killer, but also dealing with Hannibal Lecter and the psychological games that he's playing, and the fact that this guy basically gets into your head and your mind, and he almost like fucks you up just talking to you. And the whole dynamic between Hannibal Lecter and Clarice Starling is amazing. The dynamic between them is electrifying, and I thought all the actors did a great job. Jodie Foster, Anthony Hopkins, Scott Glenn is in here. It's everybody does such an amazing job with this movie. It's directed by Jonathan Demme, and he did an awesome job directing this movie. It's one of those really great thrillers, and I know some people don't say this is a horror movie. I think it is. There's definitely a lot of horror elements in the movie, guys. And I could definitely see this being a horror movie, but, if you want to say thriller, it's fine too. But I think the blood and the gore is really great in here. I love sort of the mind fuck with Hannibal Lecter. And of course, this isn't the last time that Anthony Hopkins would be playing Hannibal Lecter. He did it 2 other times, and I do like those movies. Not as good as Silence of the Lambs, though. And it's just a really wonderful, dark movie. And they just don't make them like these anymore, guys. They really don't make them like this. This is really a genuinely scary, thrilling movie. And if you guys haven't watched Silence of the Lambs, what are you doing? Definitely watch it and get the Criterion release, because this is such an awesome release. Criterion did an awesome job with this, guys. You get here, you get a new 4K digital restoration approved by the director of photography. You also get an audio commentary from 1994 featuring the director, Jodie Foster, Anthony Hopkins, screenwriter, and a former FBI agent. You get a new interview with a film critic talking about the film. You get 38 minutes of deleted scenes, interviews from 2005 with some of the actors and director, 4 documentaries featuring interviews with the cast, behind-the-scenes featurettes, storyboards, trailers, and much more. Guys, when Criterion puts out a release, they put out a release, and they did a phenomenal job with Silence of the Lambs. I'm so happy to get this edition. I used to have the DVD edition, so I definitely upgraded, but if I'm going to upgrade, it's going to be a Criterion upgrade, and I'm really happy the Criterion did a great job with this release, guys. They hit it out of the park. Silence of the Lambs, definitely check it out if you haven't. Then the next Criterion title that I picked up was one I had not owned yet, but I wanted to get it, and that is Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me. Now, I am a big fan of the Twin Peaks series. I loved season 1 and 2 back in the day, and I really loved the new series that they did on Showtime. I thought that was really cool. And I had never owned this movie, but I always really enjoyed it. And this movie is really one of those, like, what the fuck movies. Like, after you watch this movie, you just sit there really scratching your head, because it is one bizarre trip, guys. Basically, the best way I could say it is that this movie is sort of a prequel where it goes back and talks about Laura Palmer and all of the things that happened before she ended up getting killed, all the interactions with all the people that she dealt with. But it's so much more than that, guys. It's this bizarre, weird trip into the Black Lodge and dealing with a woman or a girl in this case that is just so psychologically damaged, and it's almost like an acid trip watching this movie, and a lot of it really doesn't make sense until you sort of watch everything, the all of the seasons of the show and this movie, and sort of bits and pieces will start to come together. But this is such an interesting movie, weird, bizarre, but man, the cast is awesome here. They hit it out of the park. It's such a weird slice of a movie that I'm so amazed that this actually got made, guys, because these movies really don't get made anymore. David Lynch is one hell of a director, a bizarre director, but he does an amazing job with this movie. And he does an amazing job with Twin Peaks the show. Anyways, he's such an auteur and some guy that, I mean, we're going to be talking about his work for years. He's just so out there and unique as a filmmaker, and this is definitely one of his more interesting works for sure. And Criterion definitely did this movie and this Blu-ray justice, guys. You get a restored 4K digital transfer here, and the transfer looks great. It's supervised by David Lynch. You get the missing pieces, 90 minutes of deleted and alternate takes here. Some of these deleted and alternate takes are extremely fascinating. I thought some of this stuff was mind-blowing. I wanted some of this stuff in the movie. I wish we could have gotten some of this stuff in the movie. It's so fantastic. 90 minutes, guys. You get that. You get an interview from 2014 with Lynch and some of the actors, new interviews with the composer and trailers, and it also comes with, guys, comes with here, you get the inside here with this. You get this here, there on the inside. You also get with on the inside art with the dwarf there. Very cool also. And you also get this booklet that comes with it. The booklet actually has all kinds of very interesting facts and photos and people writing about the movie. Definitely very, very interesting here. And it's just a really great release, guys. And for me, I really love Twin Peaks, and I'm really happy to finally own the movie. Twin Peaks, the show and everything, is such a bizarre trip, guys. And I will say this, that you really have to have your head on straight to really enjoy this series and this movie. But if you're willing to explore the weird and bizarre, then this is definitely a place to go. Twin Peaks is awesome, and I'm so glad to finally have this in the collection from Criterion. Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. And the last Criterion title that I got was definitely well worth it, and that is Election here. The wonderful, cool artwork that they have here. And this is one of my like top 50 favorite films, guys. It really is. It's so unique and wonderful. And it stars Matthew Broderick and Reese Witherspoon, and it's about this sort of high school teacher, and he's sort of very humdrum life, same thing over and over again. He kind of hates his life a little bit, and there's this student that is this huge go-getter, really wants to succeed and has a passion and just basically, feels that they could be better than everybody else and wants to run for class president. And this teacher basically hates her fucking guts, and he does not want her to succeed, and he tries his hardest to basically sabotage her, and sort of all the sort of comedy and the dark sort of twists and turns that happen. And this is definitely a dark comedy, guys. You get a lot of funny stuff here, but you get a lot of very dark and serious tones and a lot of issues here. Whether we talk about cheating or adulthood versus being a kid, sexual abuse, psychological stuff, this movie delves into a lot of very interesting territory. And again, it's fascinating because it has this comedic spin to it, but yet there's really some really dark moments, and it really goes into really unexpected places, and I really enjoyed that. And I think the acting is great here. Matthew Broderick kills it. Reese Witherspoon is awesome in here. I I really love this movie ever since I saw it back in the day. It was so awesome then. It still is now. Very relevant even to this day. It still is. I love all of the themes that it talks about. It's definitely very highly regarded by me. I love this movie. And Criterion definitely did this movie justice, guys. You get here a new restored 4K digital transfer supervised by the director, and it does look really good, guys. You also get an audio commentary from 1999 featuring the director, new interviews with Reese Witherspoon, Alexander Payne's 1990 UCLA thesis film with a new introduction by the director himself. You get a 2016 documentary featuring on-set footage and interviews with the cast and crew. You get an Omaha local news report on the film's production back in the day, trailers, and an essay from a critic as well. A lot of stuff to delve in with this release, and it is a great movie. Criterion gave it a lot of love. If you guys have not checked out Election, definitely do it. If you love dark comedies, this is definitely highly regarded. It's one of my favorites, and I really do enjoy it a lot, and I'm glad that it got the love that it deserved. Election, guys. The next title that I picked up is a Scream Factory title and a John Carpenter movie at that. The collector edition of In the Mouth of Madness. And as you can see, the new artwork there, very cool artwork. And on the reverse, you get the theatrical art right here. Very cool theatrical art. I've always loved that art. I think that's really cool art. And I remember watching this back in the day, and I really enjoy this movie, guys. See, a lot of people like early Carpenter, and I love early Carpenter as well, but I also like late Carpenter. And I think this is one of his last great movies that he did. The movie is about this author, Sutter Kane, and his novels are basically, people love them. People love them so much that basically they go rabid over them. They are willing to kill people. They are willing to destroy things in order to get these books. It's just rabid. They sell like crazy. And the author ends up going missing. And Sam Neill is recruited in order to try to find the author and bring him back. And he goes to this little town where they believe the author is, and find way more than they ever anticipated. And I'll just leave it at that. If you have not seen the movie, definitely check it out. It's really wonderful, Lovecraftian themes, and I thought John Carpenter did a fantastic job with this. The weird creatures and everything, the designs of them are really phenomenal. K&B did those effects amazingly. I love the actor. Sam Neill does an awesome job in this movie. He just kills it in this role. He's great in it. I love the gore and the killing and all the weird effects in it. I think it's great. John Carpenter doing Lovecraft is awesome, and I wish he would have done more of this kind of stuff. This is a really great, awesome movie, and I think it is kind of underrated. It's definitely not given as much love as I think some other Carpenter titles does, but it's so worth it, guys. I really do enjoy this title, and Scream Factory gave it a great collector's edition here. You get a new 4K scan of the original film element, and it definitely does look really good, guys. You get a new audio commentary from John Carpenter and the producer, Sandy King Carpenter. New Horrors, Hallowed Grounds, a look at the film's locations, which they did a great job on. I love checking that feature out. New interviews with one of the actresses and special makeup effects artist Greg Nicotero. The old audio commentary with John Carpenter and the cinematographer. Theatrical trailer, TV spots, and much more. Scream Factory gave this the love it deserves. They do a lot of great Carpenter titles, and they always give love to the director, and I'm so glad that I picked this up. An underrated John Carpenter title, but one that's well worth it for you guys to check out. In the Mouth of Madness. Then the next title I picked up is another John Carpenter movie, definitely underrated in my opinion, and that is Memoize of an Invisible Man here, guys. And I remember watching this. Now, my parents taped this on VHS back in the day, and I watched it. And I think this was the first ever John Carpenter title I ever watched, not ever knowing that it was actually John Carpenter at the time. And I know a lot of people kind of shit on the movie because they kind of feel like it's not really a Carpenter movie. I kind of disagree. You can still see Carpenter elements in here, and they kind of feel like Chevy Chase overtakes the movie. Yes, Chevy Chase is in here, but Chevy Chase does a really great job in this movie, guys. I think this is one of his best roles he's ever done. Yes, there's a lot of comedy in the movie, but there's a lot of serious tones here. Basically, it's about this guy, Nick Holloway, played by Chevy Chase, and he gets into this accident where he becomes invisible, and now the government is after him. They're trying to experiment on him, and he's trying to escape. He's trying to find a cure for himself, and all the sort of craziness that ensues from there. And I always really enjoyed this movie. I thought the special effects, especially for back in the day, was phenomenal and really groundbreaking. And even a lot of those special effects, at least in my mind, I think they still hold up to this day, guys. I think Chevy Chase, it's one of his best roles. Daryl Hannah does a great job in here. Sam Neill plays one of the government agents, the main bad guy in here. He is phenomenal in here. And Carpenter, I think, directs this movie really good. He tried to make his own sort of an Invisible Man type of universal picture, and I think he did a really good job with this, guys. I think everything was really great with this movie. I just think that it's very underrated. I mean, Carpenter does a lot of great titles, and this one definitely is one that I think is really, really well done. Better than I think people give it credit for, I do think. And Scream Factory didn't really do anything new as far as special features with this title, but it still is really well done here. You get a new 2K scan from the Inner Positive, which actually the picture does actually look really good, guys. You get outtakes, theatrical trailer, TV spots, and a How to Become Invisible, the Dawn of Digital FX. It talks about the movie, the visual effects that they had to do back in the day to sort of create what they did. It talks about like John Carpenter directing it and Chevy Chase, and it seems like they got along. It seems like they did get along making this movie, but I heard now that John Carpenter really doesn't like talking about this movie because I guess he didn't get along with Chevy Chase. it's kind of tough. I don't know exactly all the troubled history with this production, but it seemed like they had a really good time. I really did enjoy the featurettes, the older ones talking about it. I was really fascinated. It's definitely an interesting discussion, guys. I really enjoyed this movie a lot. And it's one of, again, a lot of Carpenter titles are really fantastic. He's a wonderful director, but I feel like there's certain titles that get sort of swept under the rug, and this is one of those titles. But I'm telling you guys that to me, this is a really wonderful, wonderful movie, guys. And if you guys haven't checked it out, or if you've been kind of on the fence about it, give it a chance, because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's not The Thing, it's not Escape from New York, it's not In the Mouth of Madness. It's definitely not, it's not really like the horror that John Carpenter does, but I think that he did pull off a story that feels like a very old school universal picture, and one that I think is incredibly well done. So definitely check it out if you get the chance. Memoize of an Invisible Man, guys. And the next pickup that I got for the month is a Warner Archive Collection release, and that is none other than Supergirl, guys. And I watched this movie a lot when I was a kid back in the day, and I remember really loving it when I was a kid. I was big into Superman back in the day. I just ate everything up that was Superman, and Supergirl was one of those titles that I was definitely in love with. And looking back on it now, this movie is really cheesy. It's really ridiculous, over the top, kind of oddball a little bit. And I was just surprised now looking back on it, like how how sort of cheesy the movie is, but like how much of like amazing actors they got for such a movie like this. I mean, Helen Slater, uh, Mia Farrow, Faye Dunaway, Hart Bachner, Peter O'Toole. I mean, my God, man. I mean, they got a lot of great actors for this type of movie. I was really amazed by that. And I mean, the movie itself is basically the character of Kara, Supergirl, um, the power source that really helps support her homeworld has basically gone missing, and she goes and finds it, and the power source lands on Earth, and it gets picked up by this witch, and she finds it, and she ends up really utilizing it to try to take over the world domination, basically. And Kara has to try to find it and defeat the witch, and then get the power source back to her people. And that's really the basic plot I can give you guys, but it is so more than that. It's ridiculous plot stuff. Um, I say world domination from the witch, but it's more of like she just wants to get a man in bed with her. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, basically, her plan is like, I want to get this guy in bed with me. Um, and it's just they're fighting over this guy, and it's kind of world domination, but not really. Uh, there's a lot of over the top stuff here, a lot of B movie cheese, but it has a special place in my heart, guys. It really honestly does. And I mean, is this movie better than sort of Superman or Superman 2 with Christopher Reeves? No, those movies are far better. I think this was like, hey, we got to do another property here. We have Supergirl. Let's just go ahead and do it. And I mean, it's the best of intentions, but the movie doesn't really hold up all that well. Special effects don't hold up, but like I said, it has a special place in my heart, guys. It really honestly does. It's just nostalgia of watching it when I was a kid, and it still really is a fun movie to watch, even to this day, even though I know how much sort of cheesiness that it really is. But I thought Warner Archive Collection actually did a really great job with this Blu-ray. You get a commentary by the director and a special project consultant, theatrical trailer, and you get a making of Supergirl vintage documentary. And this thing is a great documentary, an old school documentary. The Salkins talk about their ideas for Supergirl and why they made it. The whole casting process of finding Helen Slater and all of the actors, how they got all these big name actors, the special effects. They showed the director really directing the on set stuff, and the director is not really all that great of a guy here. He kind of comes off a little bit prickish. But he's definitely not a Richard Donner. I mean, he doesn't. The movie's okay, but it's not as well refined as what a Superman is. But it's such a fascinating documentary, really showing the process of making the movie. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really fascinating documentary, guys. I really did enjoy it a lot. And just so you guys know, you do not get the theatrical cut here. You only get the international cut on the Blu-ray and the director's cut on the DVD here. Now, the international cut, guys, is I think the best cut of the movie. It has more character, more action, more special effects stuff. The director's cut is okay, but it leaves some of the better stuff that the international cut has. And I think the theatrical cut is probably the worst of all of the cuts. But I think the international cut is honestly the best, and I think they probably chose really well to put it on the Blu-ray. If you're missing the theatrical cut, sorry, you don't get it here, guys, but I would still give it a chance. I think the international cut is really cool. And honestly, if you like a lot of these old school titles, if you like a lot of old school superhero films, then give it a chance. But no, going in, it's a cheesy Supergirl movie. But I have a special place in my heart for it. I love Helen Slater, and it definitely is worth, I think, the price for me picking it up. I don't own it in the collection, so this is still new to it. I do love it. Supergirl, guys. Nostalgia. I love it. What can I tell you? And last but certainly not least, the final title that I picked up for the month of July is none other than Streets of Vengeance here, guys. This independent sexploitation revenge title right here, guys. And the movie is about this main chick here. She's this adult film star actress, and she wants to get out of the game. And all the while this is happening, there is this group of all males who hate these women, who exploit their bodies, who choose to do whatever they want, and they are killing them off. They don't want them in society anymore. They want females to bow to their every will. And this adult film actress and all her adult film friends have to try to survive against this group of people and try to attack them and kill them before they're killed themselves. And man, I really enjoyed this movie. This has really kick-ass female leads, and you guys know how much I love kick-ass females in movies. I love them. I'm a big fan of it. It definitely has a feminist statement to it. It's very, female empowerment, which I'm all about. I love strong females. And, it's one of those sort of great sort of sexploitation, exploitation, revenge films. And it feels like it's a slice right out of the 80s. Almost like it's this unknown 80s title that finally is getting surfaced. It's really, really awesome. I really enjoyed the movie a lot. And I was pleasantly surprised because this was a complete blind buy. I was not expecting to get this title, but I loved the trailer, and I thought that, you know what, I'm going to give it a chance. And I really was pleasantly surprised. I love this title a lot. And it reminded me a lot of like things like I Spit on Your Grave. Not really. It doesn't go as far as I Spit on Your Grave does, but it definitely is in that same revenge movie feel to it. I thought the blood was really cool in it, the blood effects. I thought the killing stuff was really cool. The characters are likable and relatable. I thought it was funny at times. I thought it was a really well done movie. And I would easily recommend it. If you guys like sexploitation, if you guys like revenge movies, 80s feeling type of films, this is definitely right up your alley. And this movie is jam-packed with special features, guys. They jam-packed this to the gills here. You have an audio commentary by the filmmakers. You're talking about everything with the making of it, the writing process, acting, casting, all that jazz. You also get a making of documentary, which is an hour and 15 minutes long. This thing is like amazing. They talk about everything from the music of the film to the scripting process, the casting, how they got other adult film actresses and other people in the industry involved in making this film. They talk about the crowdfunding process, which I didn't even know this film was crowdfunded. They talk about everything from the script to the shooting process and the difficulties, and it's such a wonderful documentary. They don't make them like this anymore, guys. This is a great documentary. I wish more films would do documentaries like this. It's great making of. You also get more cast interviews, and I love the cast interviews here. I love the ladies talking about it, talking about the female empowerment message, how they were afraid to act in the movie, but they felt a lot of freedom from the director, and how they all became friends, and just all really weird, interesting stories from the set. I really love those interviews. You also get bloopers. You get trailers, art galleries, outtakes, all that jazz. You get so much here. This thing is jam-packed of a release. They did a fantastic job on this title. This movie is from Slash Video. It is really a great, great title. I'm so pleasantly surprised. And again, sometimes blind buys can really come out really being really great. Sometimes you get a blind buy and you're like, this thing is shit. But most of the time I've been pleasantly surprised with my blind buys, and this is no exception, guys. It's a great, great title. And like I said, if you like those old school 80s, like revenge, sexploitation films, female empowerment, this is right up your alley. I loved it. Easily a recommendation from me. Streets of Vengeance, guys. You guys will not be disappointed. And that will do it for my Blu-ray pickups video, guys. As I showed you here, oh, quite the stack here that I got for the month of July. Quite the haul. I'm happy with all of the releases I picked up, guys. And let me know what you guys picked up. I definitely want to know what you guys got for the month. And now we're in August, and there is a lot of cool releases that are coming this month. You've got some of the summer movies finally starting to hit on Blu-ray and DVD, and those are some really cool titles coming up. A lot of cool independent titles coming from places like Scream Factory and Severin, and Kino Lorber's coming out with really great stuff. A lot of really great titles in August, so I definitely am excited to show you guys what I'll be picking up in August. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up. I want to thank all of the supporters of the channel. I want to thank the subscribers. You guys are amazing. I love the support you give me. I love talking movies and physical media with you guys. The passion that you guys give me, I love it, and I hope you love the passion that I give back to you. If you're new to the channel, definitely, if you like the videos, if you like me talking movies and everything, definitely hit subscribe, become part of the Film Fan Nation. We'd love to have you on the channel, and keep up to date with all the videos I'm doing on my Instagram, my Facebook, and my Twitter, FilmFan108. Keep up to date with everything I'm doing, and I will see you next month for a brand new Blu-ray pickup video. Happy hunting, guys.